Coming up next, we're going to talk with Joey Lankford. He's the executive director of Cultivate. That's a farm located on the Tennessee Department of Ag ground that grows not just food, it grows people.
Cultivate was birthed out of the idea that we could take some land, engage food insecurity in around Middle Tennessee, but also create a pathway for the unemployed, usually coming out of prison or addiction. Is sort of where the space that we're in right now, and take 15 people at a time and work them through a job training program.
So today we're talking with Joey Lankford for Brentwood, Tennessee. How you doing, Joey?
I'm good. How are you today?
I'm doing pretty good.
Thanks for having me on.
Yeah. You are the executive director at Cultivate.
Yes, sir.
What is Cultivate?
Cultivate was birthed out of the idea that we could take some land, engage food insecurity in around Middle Tennessee, but also create a pathway for the unemployed, usually coming out of prison or addiction. Is sort of where the space that we're in right now, and take 15 people at a time and work them through a job training program.
So you're actually working with people that have been, people that need a hand.
People that generally are from rural counties around Tennessee that find themselves in Nashville because of the services in and around Nashville that from housing when they get released to transportation to just all the things that support services that they need. So the farm's just literally 15 minutes from here, and very accessible.
Why? Are you just a nice guy?
In my early 30s, I was in healthcare, so I don't have a farming background. My wife asked me, we had 3 biological children. She asked me if I wanted to adopt. And so we started that process and ended up getting a little girl from Ethiopia. Through that process, decided that we were gonna live our life on mission for a bit and do something really, it wasn't to save the world, it was just use the time in our early 30s to do something that others weren't doing. So we moved. When we got Bristol, we stayed here a couple of months to get our readoption done, packed up 17 crates and moved to Cape Town, South Africa.
Okay.
And landed in front of a township with 45,000 people on it, 1 square mile, and we were doing workforce development. And there were some greenhouses for sale down the road, and we literally bought those and set them up as a training platform to get people ready for unfilled jobs in Cape Town. Really, I think was just inspired by not only the food poverty and food inequity in South Africa, but then we stayed there 5 years and began to refocus. Okay, if I'm going to turn this over to Africans, what are we going to do? What are we going to do next?
Why did you come back?
The people that we had trained took over, and are still leading it today.
Going.
Still going. Yeah, it's
Nice.
going strong. My wife and I started looking at the food scarcity and food deserts in Middle Tennessee, and realized there's some work to be done here. And so we came back, and we took 4 children. We brought back 5. My wife got pregnant while we were in South Africa, and so
that's kind of on you, isn't it?
It is on me. It is on me. It makes an interesting conversation.
Tell me how you started, how Cultivate got going.
I had requested from the administration, the governor. I just asked if we could.
You just called him?
Oh, I knew him. I'd known him.
You know the governor?
I do. The conversation began with the previous commissioner, Julius Johnson, about, do you have any land? Do we have any land anywhere? And I didn't know at the time that the ag department was as big as it is and as beautiful as it is. And he took me down a little path to an 8-acre plot of ground and said, yeah, would this work? And it's absolutely stunning. And so we literally just started, after we got the lease agreement done with the state, to turn that land into food. We just started recruiting from other organizations and nonprofits, people that were not employed, and putting them to work and growing crops. So that's how it evolved.
Well, tell me about who helps you. I mean, if I wanted to work at your place, who are you looking for?
We're looking for those that need to earn a living, who need to be in a community where they can be around people that have either come through addiction or need the community of sobriety around them, constant accountability. We have about 4,000 volunteer hours served a year on the farm. So a lot of school groups, a lot of church groups. We got a lot of corporations in Nashville that come with their teams and serve alongside the people that are actually in the program. And so it provides, there's education and learning going going both ways. You know, they wouldn't otherwise meet somebody that just got out of prison unless the farm provides that space. And when your hands are in the dirt and you're growing food, it neutralizes pretty much every conversation. You know,
I look at someone like yourself, and I think it would be tough, right? Because you're giving great opportunities, your time to people like this. There's people that are going to burn you on that.
Sure.
How do you deal with that?
I spent the first few years probably just running from it, thinking that, you know, maybe if I just worked hard enough for somebody that they wouldn't relapse or that they wouldn't burn me after 6 months of investment, time and energy and money. And it really put me in a bad spot in 2018 where I was just like really just didn't like, you know, the outcome. I had to realize that I didn't have a cape. I couldn't fix the person. You know, I was basically just supposed to be in relationship with people and expect that over time they would grow to want the opportunity that we were offering. And we've seen over 100 people graduate and be sent out into workforce opportunities. So it works for some, and some Cultivate just, you know, is not for them at the time that they're in our program. Our prior graduates now run all the programs. So they know who they're dealing with. They actually work better and have more empathy and experience in line with who we're hiring on. So see a lot more sustainability with the model now that I'm not doing the intake and application process. So
people are going to hear this and they're going to want to do good like you do. What advice would you give them?
I think as far as stepping into the food space, where I've seen a lot of traction is looking at places where we have underutilized property, you know, behind your congregation, behind your school. We've turned a lot of school grounds into educational gardens and just introducing people to farming. I think food and farming creates the space for community, so find a place where you can do that. Money's not the reason people don't do things a lot of times. It's just the creativity behind how do we do it? Do we want to do it? And then start talking about it, and I think you'll find that there's more people probably having that same nudge that you are.
Ephesians 3:20. What's that mean to you?
It was very formative early on because I was stepping out into something that if God didn't step into, I was going to fall flat on my face. I was praying that God would do immeasurably more than I could ask or imagine. That was at a time where I was taking my father-in-law's daughter to Africa and and his grandkids. So, I mean, it could have went really wrong really fast. But the Lord has He's answered that prayer for me, and He's given me the space to step back and say, you know, if anybody tried to take the credit for what God's been able to do through that step of faith in my journey, He can do it in anybody's life. There's not, like you said, I'm not a farmer, you know, and so stepping in faith in something that's bigger than you, I think gives God the space to really supernaturally infuse that and do some really, really wild things.
If people want to find out more about what you do, social media, internet, where do they go?
It's at Cultivate Farms. So all your social media platforms, your Instagram, Facebook, all that, at Cultivate, spelled with a 2, Farms, and they can find out what we're doing, where we're going, and how we're growing and impacting the food space here in Middle Tennessee. So.
Yeah. Well, Joey, I'm glad it worked out with you and to work with the Department of Agriculture. And this is what the world needs: more people that are unselfish, more people that are willing to look at other people's needs. I look at you and I feel like I should do a lot more. So you are an inspiration to not only the local community but to the world in general. So I want to thank you for everything that you do.
Thanks for the invite on.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
Thanks for spending some time with us here on Shark Farmer TV. For more stories about people in agriculture, catch my shows on Rural Radio Channel 147 Sirius XM. There's more in-depth discussions on my podcast, and of course, you can check out previous episodes of this show on my YouTube channel. Find out more at sharkfarmer.com.
I told her when she asked me, I said, what every Christian man can do to buy 6 weeks of time minimum is I'm going to pray about it, which whether you do or not, it still buys you time.
Dude, you don't say that out loud, man.
Okay.